Hello, good morning. Happy Monday. It's 8 o'clock on Monday morning. Here just now waiting for Facebook. Okay. I don't know what's going on. These guys really are not talking well together. Okay, there we go. So I can see it sort of. Okay. Let me. All right, good morning, happy Monday. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. All right, so I'm probably not going to be able to see your comments because it's not showing up in my feed. Sort of. So Matt, I can see you. All right, this is going to be super delayed. I'm going to start over. I'm just going to go right on Facebook since this is not working. These two are not. Oh, wait a minute. Now it is. All right. Just a little bit of a delay. All right. Good morning, Deb. Good morning, Matt. I should see. There it is. Now I can see your comments. All right. Good morning. Happy Monday. You know, cobwebs on a Monday. What can we say? Welcome back to work, Matt. Hope you have a fun day on the road. Morning, Deborah. Hope Colorado's coming to life out there. Yeah, so I hope you guys had a good weekend. We were able to sneak away for a few days of camping with the family. And I will just tell you that, hands down, I dominated the fishing. I caught, was that Saturday night? Saturday night, Beth, Jerry, my brother Dennis, and I went fishing out on Pico Lake, which is where we were camping. And Jerry started it off by catching a pickerel, which was pretty awesome to have him catch because obviously being 5 years old and catching a, probably about a 12 and a half, 13-inch pickerel. Pickerels don't really fight much, but either way, it was still fun to watch him catch that. And then we shifted a little bit, and then the hits started coming. I caught 9 fish in the span of like 25 minutes. And Beth caught 3 fish, I want to say 3 or 4. The boys, Parker was just kind of running around the boat like a wild animal. And my brother ended up catching a couple. But it was funny because Jerry was like, Uncle Dennis, you're really not catching any fish tonight. So I was like, yep, gotta love the honesty of a 5-year-old, just kind of throwing it right in his face. My dad's caught a lot more fish than you have. It's like, Jerry, don't curse us. So yeah, we had fun time fishing. Another weekend away for us. This weekend, we're actually going to stay home because my buddy's coming over, and we're going to do some work in the woods for the deers because it's almost deer season. So we're going to get ready for that. But hope you guys have had a good weekend. Summer is kind of flying by. We're the 3rd of August. So again, like I said last Friday to close out the month of July, if you have some goals that you really wanted to start working on, Saturday was a great opportunity. For those of you who procrastinated on Saturday and Sunday, who feel you can't start a diet or any change until Monday, today's your day. So that kind of got me thinking. And one of the things that I was thinking about this weekend while we were headed out to Little Sand Point was, it just seems to me a lot of times the summers go by faster and faster. And this year in particular, we've had an amazing summer. We've had probably weather-wise one of the nicest summers in a long time. And I was just thinking about it, and I was like, man, I feel like you never had the opportunity to start anything this summer. because it just, I don't know, it was just, obviously with everything with COVID, it's been a very odd time. Like it's just, it's just weird. But it's just one of those things where it felt like, and I think that a lot of people have this, and maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't typically think that I'm completely wrong. But maybe I am, is everybody's kind of waiting for this to get over with before they jump 100% into anything. And not everyone, I should say a lot of people. And whether it's your fitness, whether it's your nutrition, whatever it might be, is it's like, oh, well, yeah, I really want to get back after it, but with everything going on, I don't know what's going to happen with kids in the fall. So it's super easy to use these as opportunities to delay your progress, right? So one of the things that I was thinking about was like, this stuff's always going to happen. Maybe not to the severity of a global shutdown like COVID created, but what we talked about a few months ago now was we control what we can control, and we don't, if we don't have any control over it, then we have to let it go, right? And if that's the case with something like this, like you have no control over that. So don't let that be what prevents you from getting started or from continuing to make forward progress. Whatever you're working towards, whether it's fitness, whether it's nutrition, whether it's, your career, don't let this stuff be the noise and the distraction that knock you off course, because what happens next year? So you're like, okay, I'm going to throw out this year and make marginal gains and, be complacent. I'll pick it up next year. And it's like, but what if there is no next year? I mean, not to sound morbid on a Monday, morbid Mondays. But I mean, we all know someone very close to us, I'm sure, who has not had that next Monday or next year or whatever it might be. So you sit there and you put it off thinking like, okay, this virus is going to be over. And we all did it. I did it. Oh, we're going to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. So you kind of like lax a little bit, kind of take your foot off the gas, kind of settle into this 2-week mindset. And then all of a sudden it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And it's like, oh, but I can't really turn the gas back up because I'm not allowed to do anything. Well, you are allowed to do stuff. You just have to do stuff with these new guidelines in place, good, bad, or indifferent. So, and yes, it can be harder, but if you can get through it now, won't it be even easier when life goes back to the quote unquote new normal? That was kind of something that I was thinking about. And I was like, we haven't really talked about, why we delay starting, other than a lot of times we delay starting because we're afraid of change, we're afraid of failure. Those are probably the two biggest reasons. Why would I go keto and give up alcohol and give up desserts and give up all this stuff? Why would I do any of that? And it's like, especially if I love pizza and I love ice cream and I love beer, and it's like, well, because the fear of starting that, and that's not the case with me. But just the fear of starting that is I'm going to miss these foods and I'm going to miss this taste and I'm going to miss this. And it's going to be really hard to say no to those temptations. Well, not to sound crazy, but if we talk about temptation, really, is it temptation? You're that tempted by the food. You just have to you have to look at it and say, okay, it's not even really food. It's not food. It's not healthy. Food by definition is supposed to be nutritious. There's nothing nutritious about a lot of the foods we consume on a daily basis. So you're not really eating food. Mark Hyman talks about what he calls food-like substances. They are food-like. They have attributes of food, They have some like caloric, they have calories. They have some nutrients that mostly have been added back in, and they've got a whole lot of other stuff. So if you think of it in those terms, are you eating food or are you eating food-like substances? And are you afraid of starting because you're afraid of the change and afraid of the failure? I don't know. That's a question you have to ask yourself. And if you are, eat to live, not live to eat. I get that. Yeah. So this is what Matt just posted. Yeah, I mean, and again, like you can keep it in that mindset, eat to live, not live to eat, but there's no reason that you can't eat really good food that is also healthy. I do it every day. I love food. I probably like food just as much as anybody else in the world. But the difference is I don't love shitty food or food like food. I like real food. I like when I cook something and it tastes really good because, again, it's like the fruits of your labor. If you build your bedroom, if you build like your house, anytime that you build something and you complete it, and Matt, you know this, if you build your own bike and then you take it for its inaugural ride, there's a little bit better feeling than someone just being like, here you go, see ya. Like, no, you built that, you created that. That's why we have a better relationship with, typically with our kids than we do with our neighbors' kids. Hopefully you didn't help create them. You created your kids. So you created that, like that's yours, you own that. You go to Pizza Hut and they give you some piece of shit and you eat it, like there's nothing there. There's no emotion to that. Now, if you raise your tomatoes and we're gonna make a cauliflower crust pizza, raise your cauliflower, raise the cow to get the cheese. Like if you created all of that stuff, hey, then you know what? You're gonna feel a hell of a lot better eating that than you are going to Pizza Hut, Domino's, wherever to get your pizza. I promise you that, especially if you make it. That's just the way it is. So, think of that stuff. Don't be afraid to start because fear, like what is your other option? If you don't start, you're going to stay exactly where you are. And if you're even thinking about making a change, you're not happy with where you are. At the end of the day, you're not happy. So why the hell are you going through life being unhappy? Do what makes you happy. Like we don't have a ton of time. Like people get this concept that we're here for like 80 fucking years. And it's like, see, I can swear today because my parents are still on vacation for 3 more days. My mom doesn't have cell service where they are. So we're here for 80 years. Most of you, many of you probably won't even get that. I mean, that's just the shitty truth because if you don't take care of your body, like this mortality rate is based on relatively healthy people. Like, so if you don't take care of your body, you don't get that full benefit. And if you're over 40, like I am, you're already halfway done. I'm not ready to be halfway done. So what do I need to do? And because again, it's so far off in the distance. You can't even think about what it's going to, hell, we don't even know what the world's going to be like in 2 months. How are we supposed to think about what it's going to be in 40 years? But I can promise you what it won't be if you continue down the path you're going, right? So that being said, don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid of the change. Embrace the change. Expect to have struggles because again, that's where you're going to grow. That's where you're going to learn. Like I don't put together a meal and be like, oh, this is perfect the first time. No, usually it sucks. And I'm like, oh, this tastes horrible. I'm still going to eat it because I got to figure out what I screwed up. Unless it's like super bad. And then it's like, all right, pull something out of the freezer. But for the most part, it's like you need that failure to grow, and it's the same with training. You try the first time you go and do a 5K and you feel like shit because you didn't train for it. And you're like, man, I should have been able to run 3 miles. What did I do wrong? Oh, I ran my first mile at a 5:50 mile, and then by the second mile, I couldn't walk. Okay, well, what did I learn? I should not do 5Ks? No, you learned I probably should change how I do my pacing. Hello. It's the same thing with the rest of life. It's all a foot race? No. But it's you go through those hurdles. Watch your kids fail. Watch them fail when they're doing something on their own. They're playing with something, their building blocks tip over. What do? They rebuild it, and then they try to move things around so that it doesn't happen again. So why can't you do that with your food? Why can't you do that with your fitness? Why can't you do that with your career? I don't know. So think about that. Maybe act upon that. I would like it if you'd act upon that. It is 8:17. I'm going to get ready to see my wonderful people of the day. I hope you guys have an awesome Monday. It looks cloudy. I don't know if it's going to rain because I don't really look at the weather because it doesn't do us any good. So let's just say that it's partly cloudy with a chance of sunshine and a chance of rain. And one of those will probably happen. And if you live in Colorado, it might even snow. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. I will see you tomorrow, bright and early, 8 a.m. Not really early, but hopefully it'll be bright out. So have a great day. See you guys tomorrow.